Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the USBL here on MLB The Show 21 with that PS5, of course. And we got a good set of games here for you guys today. So make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new, as well as we get ready to wrap up the month of April, the opening month of this brand new league that we got going on here. And early on, Los Angeles, trying to get something going. They get a run in, but some bad base running though, as Kyle freaking Lewis, tries to stretch it to a double, but doing a really good job of hitting that cutoff man. And that ends up being the third out as Jose Quintana comes to the mound for this LA Saints squads. They're currently trying to go ahead and be a first place in the NL West as of right now, but not gonna get there without a fight though, as San Diego does end up responding here in the bottom of the third inning. Luis Reyes gets his third home run of this young USBL season, and just at one crack of the bat ends up making it all tied up at one apiece. But then a couple batters later ends up a double play ball. But hey, gotta give credit where credit is due. Game is all tied up. Got a nice tight game here, pretty early. Nothing like some tight ball games here in the USBL. You absolutely love to see it, as we do end up cutting into the bottom of the fifth inning, as Reyes trying to go deep 2 times in the same game, and it's gonna get there. This man only had 1 home run going into this game, and now has 3 home runs on the season, 2 of them coming in this game alone. And because of that, the San Diego Whales will go ahead and get up 2-1, as we looks like we got ourselves a double by Carlos Correa, who actually came in, with a nice, I believe, 9-game hitting streak going into this game. As now 2-1 ball game, trying to extend the lead further, but a weak pop out to the first baseman does stop the bleeding. But the San Diego Waves here in the bottom of the 5th inning are actually going to go ahead and take a 2-1 lead, as now Phil Madden is going to go ahead and come into this game. And keep in mind, this kid right here has not allowed a single run in this entire season so far. I know it's a young season, but that's pretty impressive to say the least. But Edwin Encarnacion gonna go ahead and try to change things here, batting 0 for 2, and will end up popping out deep to right field, but it does move the runners, and Freddie Freeman does end up scoring from third base despite being an out, in foul ball territory. But because of that, game ends up tied up at 2 apiece, as JJ Burde trying to go ahead and give LA the lead here. And it's a nice ball that's, given out for a little bit of a ride, but does not have the carry. And so that ends up being the third out. JJ Burde trying to hit that home run ball, but just didn't have the power to get it out there. And so that being said, still a tied ball game here, bottom of the 7th inning. We'll see if Danny Jensen, though, has something to say about it. There's a 2-2 count, runner on first base, and it looks like it's a ground ball that gets through the infield. Runner gonna try to get the third base, and is gonna be in there with ease. Not gonna even try to go ahead and attempt the throw. So the leading run now at third base, and Luis Reyes, with 2 home runs already on the day, comes through in the clutch once again. Pop out to right field, but the sacrifice fly is going to be able to go ahead and get him in there. And Arias really putting the team on his back, man, to be honest with you. He has 3 RBIs. The Whales only with 3 runs in this game. As Carlos Correa, he's 2 for 2, tries to extend the lead further, but we get a strikeout here, though, as LA does get out of the inning. But now San Diego, now with the lead here, they're now going to go ahead and get up 3-2 now. As now LA just simply trying to stay in this game. Can they prevent some insurance runs from being scored before we go into the top of the 9th inning? As we got a little bit 1 out. Gonna try to throw the double play, but the throw is offline. That was a tailor-made double play. but the throw was completely off, and now bases loaded here as a result of the error. Anthony Johnson, a custom recruit, getting some looks here in the USBL. Anthony Johnson actually making it to first base here as well, and that's going to bring in another run here as well. And the thing is, bases are still loaded out here, only one out as well, as that ball's going to get through from Danny Jansen as well, and that's going to bring in at least 2 runs. Anthony Johnson going to be able to slide in safely at third base as well. He does have some really nice speed to work with, and so the LA Saints have to go into the bullpen here once again, go to Noah Ramirez, who is only pitching in his third game here thus far. Doesn't get as much love, not as many looks, but coming in a critical situation to make sure things don't get absolutely out of control here. But a tough matchup though, as Luis Arias now at the plate. 2 home runs, 3 RBIs in this game alone. Although does force the pop out in a very critical pitching situation to make sure that at least the LA Saints have some kind of chance, but you absolutely hate to see it. Quite a few insurance runs, being scored in that inning, as Andres Munoz now comes into the game, but a little bit of an interesting move, to try to see if he can get the save. Has an 8.5 ERA going into this appearance. So, but he comes through in the clutch, man. Very quiet, very clean inning overall, and the San Diego Whales, will keep things close here in the NL West, as it looks like San Diego is going to come out on top, and they are going to beat the LA Saints that they hosted 6-2. I will now go ahead and switch things back over to the East Coast, and 2 teams now that are kind of struggling to find their way here in the early parts of this season. Going to be watching the Charlotte Cougars going up against the Indianapolis Indians, as Jordan Yamamoto is going to face off against Josh James, and Josh James has simply been down bad so far this season. An ERA of 16.5. That is more than 1 run an inning, as Jose Altuve is going to try to increase his ERA even more, as Altuve takes that for a ride. 369 feet. He's trying to get himself off the interstate with that batting average, and that's certainly going to help out the cause right there. A 2-run shot, giving the Indianapolis Indians an early 2-0 lead here, as Eric Hosmer now comes to the plate. He's also batting at the interstate right now, batting 188. And that's not the way to get off the interstate. A weak fly ball out to left field, but Jose Altuve, though, able to get a nice 2-run shot. And that's been an issue for Josh James. A lot of home runs, a lot of walks given up so far. He is still in the game here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Has 2 outs, so he's almost out of the inning. But Andrew McCutchen making sure he doesn't leave without a little bit of damage, as he also goes deep out to left field. He takes it out 406 feet. His 3rd home run on the season gives him a 3-0 lead, as Jose Altuve will come to the bat once again. And that's almost his 2nd home run of the game, but just makes it to the warning track though, as Indianapolis continues to pour it on the Charlotte Cougars, who have struggled, and actually particularly Josh James has really struggled in this ball game. Remember, this is a team that has not necessarily been batting all that great, but the defense, not necessarily helping out either. Could have jumped for it if he got there a little bit sooner, but Fred Shaver does get his very first home run of his USBL career. And finally, they will decide to go ahead and go with some good old-fashioned going to the bullpen, going to Avisel Garcia, and he cleans things up a lot easier. Gonna go ahead and strike him now, which will bring up Brian O'Keefe to the plate. He's actually 0 for 1 so far today, as Jonathan trying to get out of this inning and gets out of there clean, but not a good start for the Charlotte Cougars. I'll tell you what, down 6-0. Josh James maybe an early candidate to be one of the first people to be sent down. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that at this moment, because I have everything automated. The only thing, I'll step in when I need to, But, you know, maybe Josh James is one of the first people to get called down after, you know, the terrible start that he's been having so far. But Charlotte does end up fighting back as Joe Votto is going to take a ball out for a ride out in center field. He crushes it as well. 444 feet. What an amazing way to get on the board here, as Charlotte does end up getting his first runs, but it's simply not enough though, as it does look like Indianapolis is going to pull it out. They're going to win this game by a final score of 6-2 against the Charlotte Cougars in order to get back to 500, as Jordan Yamamoto actually does get player of the game. But let's go ahead and keep it out on the East Coast though, as we check out this NL Central divisional matchup between the Milwaukee Beer and the Aurora Lightning. Both squads are currently out there just trying to make sure that they're not in the very bottom of the division as of right now, as Brian Sammons is going to go ahead and take the mound here for the Aurora Lightning, as William Adams is going to be coming up the bat here. A slow start for him so far, granted. Only batting .220 as of right now. Although that average might be coming up a little bit, though, as Adams takes this one out for a ride. And that's going to be a ground rule double. And that might have helped them out a little bit, at least the Milwaukee Beers, because if that wasn't a ground rule double, at least one run was scoring. I'll tell you that much. Probably would have been a triple for Willie Adams too, as, you know, guy has some decent speed and he hit it out in the right center field. You know, seeing it right there as Anthony Rendon ends up with a sacrifice fly on the very next at bat. So that's going to be the first run of the game going to the Aurora Lightning here in the top of the first inning. It's now Dominic Smith. He's going to go ahead and take this one out for a ride here, as well as Willie Adams. He's going to try to run for home. The throw was sort of there. You know, you got to hit those cutoff mans. You know, it's straight up and down, you know. These guys, you know, some of them think that they have the arms, you know, to get it right to home plate. You know, ironically, Maxwell bailing out some of these runners because he could have been brought out. But, you know, instead, Aurora's going to take a 2-0 lead. But that will be the only 2 runs that they end up getting this inning, as the Milwaukee Beers do end up getting out of it, though. But Aurora off to a nice start here, up 2-0, as Demilson Lamet will be coming on the mound here for the Lightning. Currently, you know, not doing okay, 3.72 ERA, much better than Joey Wendell, who is not even on the interstate right now. He is batting .088. I have not seen a batting average that low in a very long time. He is a little bit down bad, to be honest with you, but Joey Wendell getting a double, and that will help at least, you know, get that batting average up a little bit, I would imagine, as Logan Davidson will now come up to the plate here. And he hasn't been batting that much better. He's only batting .151, but he's going to get a single at the very least. Joey Wendell trying to go home, and he's safe at the plate. A tight call, but he is just barely in there. And for the time being, the lead was divided in half, only down 2-1, as they're trying to go ahead and try to move the runner along, and it looks like does end up going in there, as Logan Davidson gets a really nice jump on that, you know, going max speed of 20 miles per hour. Catcher not too bad of a reaction, almost got him out, but, you know, almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nukes, as Clint Davis, he's going to try to take this out for a shot as well. Gets it out to the warning track. Anywhere else in that ballpark, that was going to be a home run, but because it was hit there, you know, it's the third out. But still, you know, not too shabby whatsoever, as the Aurora Lightning now only working with a 1-run lead. But Willie Adams trying to get it back, though, as he takes it out to left field, and it is gone. Like a girl in a country song. Home run for Willie. And the lead is back up to 2 runs here, as Anthony Rendon trying to get on base here, batting .261. And he's just barely going to get on bag. Brian Simmons with an error. Hopefully that doesn't come back and bite him. As 2 batters later, Corey Dickerson back at the plate once again, batting 1 for 1 on the day so far. Does end up striking out, though. He was caught with the check swing Pretty sure it was going to be a strike anyways, but it is what it is. As Kiki Hernandez now at the plate, he asks Kiki, do you love me? You'll certainly love this hit as Anthony Rendon trying to go home, and he gets there. Throw was just offline once again. Like I said, man, you gotta hit that cutoff, man. How hard is it to do? You gotta be joking me right now. As Brian Buxton, he's gonna go ahead. He's up to plate now. He's known for the speed, but he's got the bat as well. Showing that potential as a power hitter. He certainly has the size for it. And the starter actually gets knocked out extremely early. So Kenyon Middleton now trying to clean things up here in the third inning. He's going to have to go for a very long period of time here. Because, top of the third inning, not a good look whatsoever. But does end up getting out of at least this inning without any more damage being done. But the Aurora Lightning in a really good spot as of right now, up 6-1. And they even have an opportunity a couple innings later to add some more runs on top of it. Depends on what happens right here, as there's another ball taken out deep to left field, and that's going to be another home run. Corey Dickerson going to go ahead and get another solo shot. So now a 7-1 lead for the Aurora Lightning. As now 2 outs, going to try to get it past the center fielder. Had to leap for it a little bit, but only 1 run scored this time around. But Corey Dickerson with another really nice hit. That ends up being a home run this time around. And it's up 7-1. So the Milwaukee Bears just in a really tough place right now. They are in between a rock and a hard place. But this will help him out a little bit. A free run shot, though, by Alex Bregman. That is the 5th home run of the season. As the Lightning will go to the bullpen here. Steve Shishak going to go ahead. He's going to try to clean up this 8th inning here following that free run home run. He has not allowed any runs yet in his 4 appearances. And he looks like he might be trying to repeat that here. Ends up striking him out. We'll see if he can go ahead and strike out Clint Frazier as well. Here as a 2-1 pitch is coming. Just a weak ground to the shortstop. Pretty routine. Should be the final out. And it does end up being just that. But Alex Bregman, at least, getting them back in this ball game a little bit. Still down by 3 runs. As Ryan Pressey will now step into the game. Has 2 saves and 3 opportunities so far. And this will be his 4th save opportunity here thus far. As he starts out with Mitch Moreland at the plate here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ends up getting him out and makes him 0 for 3. Which brings up Stephen Piscotty, who has certainly struggled over the course of this series. Only batting 1 for 9 in the series. But a well-timed hit here as it's down the right field line. Gets to the wall. And it ends up being a double. The Milwaukee Bears not giving up just yet, as it's the third double of the game for Stephen Piscotty. Is now Joey Wendell, who just got himself back on the interstate here. He's going to try to move a runner here, as a couple batters later, bases end up being loaded. Does end up flying out, but it looks like it's going to be just enough. Oh, that was almost the 3rd out. That could have been the dagger. But for now, the Milwaukee Bears stay alive. And the game-winning run here is now at the plate. Can Logan Davidson be the hero here? Full count. Ball's hit really hard, but right to the right fielder. Yeah, absolutely hate to see it, but that's the game of baseball sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have a really solid hit, but it's going to go right to a fielder, and that's exactly what happened here. The Aurora Lightning will go ahead and finish things up here, winning by a final score of 7-5. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break and check out some box score that just came in from the studio, as the Philadelphia Patriots and the New Orleans Kings actually just finished wrapping things up here. And I'll tell you what, the Philadelphia Patriots, they ended up tearing the New Orleans Kings to shreds. They win this game by a final score of 16-1. Jose Peraza out there playing a really good game, ended up going 4 for 6, had a home run and a double, and Jameson Taillon does end up getting the win. Meanwhile, keeping it back out on the East Coast as the Memphis Bobcats are getting ready to go to work against the Washington Senators. As it looks like the Washington Senators, they've been doing really good in this series, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Batting .369 as a team, that's really good company. That's going to win you a lot of ball games when you win like that. So it's going to be up to Homer Bailey, who is going to end up getting the start here for these Memphis Bobcats, to try to see if they can go ahead and slow down this Washington Senators offense just enough. But it looks like they're just going to keep the good vibes going here, as this one's taken deep to left center field. And Mitch Garver, who hasn't even hit a home run yet this season. There's always a first for everything here, man, especially these early episodes of a new sim league. Mitch Garver gets his first of the season here. Two-run shot here as well, as the catcher does make it a 2-0 lead here early for the Senators. As we'll cut to the top of the 4th inning, Gerard Concepcion trying to even things up here potentially, but it's going to be a steal instead though, and it looks like the runner is going to be safe. Kevin Kiermaier going to get his first stolen base of the season. He gets moved to scoring position, though Encarnacion is not going to get on base himself. So 2 outs, and got a base hit right up the middle, and that stolen base that we just showed earlier ends up paying off for the better man, able to score from second base. That would not have happened if he didn't steal it earlier. And so, nice, smart way to go ahead and manufacture a run here. And they might be manufacturing another one here as well, as this game might be all tied up depending on the throw. Just can't get it in there in time, unfortunately. And that looks like Jimmy Nelson is actually going to get pulled here really soon. Not having any of it, doesn't matter. These USBL managers quick to pull out the starting pitchers, it seems like. But it's just a chat. Jimmy Nelson will remain in the game for the time being. They're facing a 2-1 count here, as trying to get out of this inning without allowing any more runs. Ball hit out to center field, but doesn't really go anywhere for the time being. And Memphis Bobcats do end up striking back. They make this game all tied up at 2 apiece, as Homer Bailey will eventually be knocked out of the game. Nick Ramirez will step in here in the bottom of the 5th inning to try to keep things close, as he will be facing JD Martinez for his second at-bat of his appearance. And he sends this one out to right center field. That's going to the wall. There's going to be a runner that's going to score, and the Washington Senators are going to be taking a lead right here, and that's going to make it a 3-2 ball game. As now, next batter, Michael Conforto at the plate. Full count. He's going to send this a moonshot out to right field. And like I said, man, that ball is gone like a girl in a country song. As Memphis having to go to their bullpen once again, because they're falling apart a little bit here in this 5th inning. I'm not going to lie to you. And you're going to also face Mitch Gardner, who's 2 for 2, but just narrowly misses that one. So that's a pop out to the catcher. But Michael Conforto really trying to go ahead and open things up here for the Washington Senators as they continue to pour it on. Memphis having to go to their bullpen continuously. That's what happens when the starter gets pulled out relatively early. Gotta get all these relievers involved just to make it through the game. 9-inning game could be a really long time, as double play, that's something you really like to see. But at the same time, though, it's another score. You don't like to see that, as Washington will continue to go ahead and build their lead. As now, Michael Conforto, he's at the plate once again, and he's gonna make it home run number 2. Oh my goodness. He sends this one even farther than last time. 438 feet. They do end up getting out of the inning eventually, but man, not a good look whatsoever. Washington now really pouring it on, up 8-2 now. As Chris Bryant, he's going to hit the ball off the big wall out in right field. Going to try to get home though, and it's, wow, just barely missing the tag. Chris Bryant going to be awarded with the RBI double, his 6th double of the season. But Aaron Judge Can't do anything else. He's going to strike out. So that's going to go ahead and bring up Matt Olson here with a full count. And that's just going to be a weak grounder to the pitcher. No big deal for Alex Bettinger. And so, Memphis gets a run in. You do like to see that, but I mean, still got a lot of work to do if they want to come back and win this game. Still down by 5 runs. They're going to need some good pitching and then hope the offense can come alive here. And I guess they only have one opportunity left to do it at the bottom of the 8th, as Aaron Fletcher does end up getting a strikeout. Let's see if they can get Michael Conforto out here as well. He's already got 2 home runs here on the day. Got to watch out for that as a 2-2 pitch. Another home run. Is that going to be home run number 3? It will if it stays fair, and it is. 3rd home run of the day, and this one's for 420. And that bat is surely blazing with the kind of performance that Michael Conforto is certainly having here. Really carrying this Washington Senators offense. He's been credited with 5 of the 9 runs that they have scored here today, all by himself, outscoring the Memphis Bobcats baseball team. That is an insanely good performance. But I'll tell you what, man, these Bobcats, they're certainly not going to give up just yet, as there's a run that gets in. So that's going to go ahead and bring it down to just a 5-run game. Let's see if Chris Bryant can also bring him home, though. 1-1 count here. Nobody out just yet, as Chris Bryant, he's going to send this one deep, and that's going to get over the massive red wall. A home run for Chris Bryant, homer number 7. And so the Memphis Bobcats are back in the game now. Liam Hendricks will now be stepping in and will be facing Giancarlo Stanton. They got a couple of big name players, Giancarlo Stanton, Chris Bryant. So I'm surprised that Memphis has been kind of struggling with the amount of star power that they have on this team. It just goes to show that maybe the flashiest names might not always get the best results. And I think we're seeing that live here in person, as this game is now over. Memphis gave it a good ride. They tried to come back. They really did. They gave it their hopes, gave it their dreams, but just wasn't enough. Could not overcome the performance of Michael Conforto. He had his best game yet in this series. 3 for 4, 3 home runs and 5 ribbies. As we'll now switch over to the AL Central briefly, as the Chicago Freeze and the Columbus Jets are going to go ahead and face off against each other. The Chicago Freeze actually looking like they might be trying to go on a little bit of a run here, as it looks like we'll take a look at each of these pitchers going up on the mound. Alex Wood struggling a little bit here. He is 1 for 1, but with a 5.29 ERA. That's simply not acceptable for a starting pitcher, but again, it's still really early. We'll see if they get it down, both these pitchers. And right now, the way that they're doing right now, they're doing pretty good, as we're here in the top of the 4th inning right now. And as I was talking about the pitchers, I might have just jinxed them a little bit. I'm surprised that wasn't ruled a ground rule double. I thought that got over the wall here. Not that it really would have mattered. Still ended up being a double. Just surprises me just a little bit, but hey, it is what it is, though, as Andrew Vaughn is up to deck. Let's go ahead and check out the at-bat for Kyle Hirozaki, as he's going to get a bloop single. That's going to end up dropping, and we're going to finally go ahead. It took a few innings to get things going here. We're more of a offensive-friendly league because, we like seeing runs scored. We don't like to see, pitching duels all of the time, although I do like seeing those every once in a while. I gotta admit it, but Columbus, gives up the first run of the game. They do end up getting out of it, though, but the Chicago Freeze do end up striking back here. Not to mention the Columbus Jets are actually still being no hit to this point, so Alex Wood, ending up doing a really good job here so far. As Kyle Seager will now come up to the bat here, full count, and is gonna hit this one right over the middle. And this lead looks like it's going to double here. So the RBI single by Kyle Seager is going to go ahead and double the lead here for the Chicago Freeze. As Alex Verdugo now comes to the plate, 2-2 count. Tyler Collect making sure it stays 2-0. As this ball is driven deep out to left field. Is it going to be gone? Yes. Oh, no. It actually gets off the wall, but it's going to bring in 2 runs. So, what a hit by Alex Verdugo. And that's going to be the, nice little 2-run double for him. His 4th double of the season. And the Columbus Jets having to go to the bullpen here. Cal Quintrell coming to the mound to face off against Chris Taylor, who's currently 1-for-1 so far on the day, and he's gonna strike him out. So, ending the Chicago Freeze inning, but Chicago really starting to pull away here, up 4-0. Meanwhile, Columbus just having a really tough time right now. They haven't even gotten a single hit yet. We'll see if Colin Wong can change that here. As looks like that ball ends up getting loose. Sometimes, getting those locks and sometimes getting a little bit of luck, really helps the cause out here as well. And Colin Wong does end up walking here as well. So, Kevin Pillar going to go up and face against Alex Wood. And we finally see the first hit for the Columbus Jets is going to end up bringing a run in. So, Columbus finally gets his very first hit of the day. And they also get the very first run of the day as well. As the Chicago will now go to the bullpen here. Ian Kennedy, one of the notable veterans in the USBL. Not the best relief pitcher in the world, but he is a veteran. Gotta love having that veteran presence around. But we'll get a little rattled here early on, but we get us out at second base. Oh, you absolutely hate to see it. Bad base running right there. Although that was a really good throw, to be fair, as well. As Ronald Acuna Jr. now coming to the plate. He's 0-for-2 so far on the day. The pitch is underway. He's going to try to take this out for a ride, but right to that center fielder, though. But hey, Columbus actually got some hits. They finally hit the baseball. They actually had 3 hits. Now that I think about it. But it might not be enough, though, as we get to the 9th inning. And they got to face off against Aroldis Chapman, who may not be in his prime necessarily, but that being said, though, he can still get the job done, gets to strike out there. And that's what Aroldis Chapman is known for, simply just trying to throw it past you. He can certainly do it here as well, as Jose Abreu comes to the plate. 2-1 count, but that's going to end up getting through, though. Going to try to get the third base. It's ballsy. Another out again. Bad base running, but I think that's Ronald Acuna Jr. Who ended up trying to steal a third base there. But, I mean, you threw it when the ball was in left field. Not your smartest decision in hindsight. So, Austin Ryan will be tasked with trying to keep the game alive just a little bit. It looks like he might do it. Hit out in right center field. He's going for second. Runner going home. This would make it just a 1-run game. And man, oh man, things are getting really interesting now as Aroldis Chapman gonna blow this save. We'll just have to wait and see here as the Columbus Jets do end up making a substitution. Earl Robinson now he'll be subbing in as Ron Batista, who's been 0-for-3 today as well as 0-for-7 in this series, will be trying to get his first hit of the series in a clutch situation. But hit right to Aroldis Chapman. It's an easy out. And it was a spirited comeback here for the Columbus Jets. But that being said, they could not get over the offensive lows that they have been facing as a team for the majority of the game. And the Chicago Freeze are going to end up winning this game 4-3. And Alex Wood does end up getting player of the game. Aroldis Chapman gets his 8th season. And then Tyler Mahle with the loss being credited to him. So the next matchup that I have for you guys here today is the Las Vegas Lounge Lizards taking on the Baltimore Stone Crabs, who not only have a similar record, but they also have a similar batting average as well. Both teams batting in the high 250s. So this is going to be at least quietly a pretty interesting matchup to watch out for, as Cody Bellinger, he's going to get this grounder past the third baseman, and looks like he's going to try to stretch it out to the double and somehow being safe at third. I'm surprised that out didn't happen at third base, but Cody Bellinger does end up getting his third double of the season, as Miguel Sano now comes to the plate. He hasn't been doing so hot as of late, only batting .232, and while not necessarily getting the job done here, it looks like he's going to go ahead and get the first run of this game. So, didn't even take very long, unlike in the last game that we just ended up witnessing, where we're here in the top of the first inning and we already seen a run being scored, but that will be the only run that ends up being scored, it seems like, as the third out happens on literally the very next at bat. So the Baltimore Stone Crabs, they'll get to go up to bat for the very first time, already down by 1, and we'll be playing up against Hey Aton, who has a 2.2 ERA as of right now. Can't get anything going just yet, but it's still early though, as Travis Denard gonna go up to the plate, batting .333 so far. Off to a nice start. It is only gonna heat up from here. He takes this out deep to left field, and it is gone. He lit that ball up like a Christmas tree, able to hit that out. 429. Is now a few batters later, Josh Jung coming to the plate. One of the top 50 prospects here in the USBL here, but gonna strike up in that at bat. So that's going to end up being 2 outs here as they get back to the top of the order already, as Kyle Tucker, trying to go ahead and try to extend the lead a little bit, but excuse me, just burp. That's exciting. Travis Denard ends up getting the home runs. It's just only a solo shot, but it still adds up runs onto the board. As Baltimore actually struggled a little bit here in this game. Paul Sealed actually having to come in here as we cut to the top of the 6th inning. Is Miguel Sano at the plate here with a full count. He's going to send this one, a nice shot out to left field. As Miguel Sano, he's going to try to stretch this out to a double. It's going to be close, but the throw is offline. Miguel Sano sliding into second base and ending up getting to third here eventually, as Travis Denard is back at the plate here once again. With runners at the corner, nobody out. It looks like that run might be able to get in there. As they try to run the double play, Denard ends up being safe as Miguel Sano able to get home. It is now a 3-0 lead here, as looks like the bullpen for the Baltimore Stone Crabs is struggling a little bit here, facing off against Chad Duagana, the man with a long name. Actually, with a little bit of an error out in right field, that's going to create an opportunity for Travis to get into third base, and he's going to be safe as well, which brings up Josh Jung yet again. He's been 0 for 2, but maybe this is his time to shine. No, and it looks like it's going to be a double play with bases loaded too. So a little bit of a lost opportunity there, unfortunately, but Las Vegas does end up adding another run here midway through the 6th inning. But maybe this is the wake-up call for the Baltimore Stone Crabs to finally go ahead and wake up a little bit on offense. They only have 2 hits, at least to this point. This is a pretty decent batting team going into this game, but maybe when the bats are cold, force them to make tough throws. That's why it's important to always hustle, forcing the error, and now got runs at the corners. And Robinson Cano here, all it takes is one swing in the at-bat, and that could go ahead and tie this ball game up, or gonna be a wild pitch that's gonna bring in the very first run of this game. A wild pitch gonna end up being charged here, and that's how the Baltimore Stone Crabs get on the board. But that being said, though, Robinson Cano is still up to bat. It's a 2-2 count here, as he's gonna end up getting a base hit out into left field. This could be the second run of the day for the Baltimore Stone Crabs. Throw was just a little bit late there, as Thad Ward gives up the second run of this appearance. And so they're going to have to go to the bullpen here to make sure the lead is preserved, as Josh Taylor will now be coming to the mound here. Already been used quite a bit this season. Has 11 appearances so far this year, as he takes on Ryan Braun here, who goes out to right field, but that's going to end up being the end of the 6th inning. Baltimore does end up tacking a couple of runs, but that being thanks to Robinson Cano, by the way. But I mean, they're still down by 1 run, so they need their pitching to come through and play a little bit better here. We'll see if Chase Fry has what it takes as he takes on Cody Bellinger who's currently 1 for 3 on the day so far, as Cody Bellinger just barely gets it past the third baseman, and this could bring in another run as well. Throw at the plate is not in time, and it looks like Las Vegas extends their lead here once again, bringing up Travis Denard as well, who's 1 for 3, has a solo shot here as well. Bases loaded, and it looks like a diving grab. That's going to be a double play here as well, and what a really nice job here. Looks like Robinson Cano making that diamond crab as well. He's more known as an offensive guy, but there's a defensive gem for you right there, and a big one in that, because if that would have gone through, that's at least 2 runs right there. But Baltimore still can't do anything just yet, so gonna be hoping that, you know, the pitching staff can put it together. But Stephen Christian leaves one right over the middle of the plate as Josh Jung leaves this one out in deep center field, his second home run of the season. One of the top prospects in the USBL, by the way, as it looks like another hit down the center field. This could be some more trouble here as well, and we are going to have 2 home runs in the same inning. This time Adam Frazier going to get involved, and that's his second home run of the season. So now Dylan File will come into the game to try to clean things up a little bit. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, facing off against Miguel Sano, who's 2 for 3. Make that 2 for 4. What a clutch strikeout here for Jace Fry in order to stop the bleeding, but Las Vegas really starting to open things up here right now as Cam Bredosian comes into the game. 0 for 1 on his save opportunities, but should be pretty straightforward here. You only need 3 outs and you're up by 6 runs, right? You got one job. Just got to make sure you go ahead and get the job done, as it ends up with 2 outs here thanks to that strikeout, leaving Joey Bart trying to save the day. 0 for 3 so far, batting .226 on the season, and that's going to close things out here with multiple strikeouts for the closer, and the Lounge Wizards will get themselves back up to 500, and they will beat the Baltimore Stone Crabs by a final score of 8-2. Adam Frazier doing some work. As now we check in with back over on the East Coast, or not on the East Coast, the West Coast, as we check out this matchup between the San Jose Marauders and the Houston Astronauts, who are currently on top of the AL West as of right now. And we'll see what we got going on here. Is Mike Trout in the top of the first inning. He comes up to plate, came in as one of the best players in the USBL, but not showing it with the stats so far, only batting .203. That will certainly help out, though, as that is just fair. Mike Trout will go ahead and get his 6th home run of the season, as Anthony Rizzo follows through, not too far behind him 2 batters later. And Rizzo striking out Silly and making him look just looking pretty bad. That was a pretty rough swing, to be honest with you. As we'll check out Sonny Gray now. He's going to be starting for the San Jose Marauders in this ball game. And we'll go ahead and cut into the 4th inning as we go ahead and check out David Peterson once again, as Anthony Rizzo is going to hit a solo shot himself. Just getting some revenge for looking silly on the first at bat, and now getting some ultimate revenge, getting that solo shot here as well, as Jake Snyder now trying to extend the lead even further, but a foul tip that's just in the air for a millennia, and San Jose will only be up 2-0, but both runs coming by the home run ball versus Anthony Rizzo, and then we'll also have Mike Trout with a solo shot as well, as the bullpen will try to pick things up where they left off. This is the first pitcher that's came into the game. Did a really good job, man. 7 really solid innings. So it's up to the bullpen of San Jose to close things out here. Or are we going to see just the reason why that San Jose is where they're at right now, with, you know, batting below 5, or not batting, but with a below 500 record. You guys know what I mean. You know, it's late. You know, we're a little tired But, we're trying to get this through, try to provide you with some content that you'll love and enjoy, which, by the way, if you're enjoying the content, by the way, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment for your guy as well. If you have some suggestions for the USBL, being a brand new league, trying to try to bring the best experience possible for you guys at the end of the day. As speaking of experiences, the Houston Astronauts actually going to go ahead and actually finally get a run in this game. It only took them the 8th inning, and they're gonna get into a double play the very next at bat. But JD Davis actually able to go ahead, get the at least back to 1 run. Now, can Giovanni Gallegos go ahead and close things out here? We'll just have to wait and see. He has not blown a save yet here, but Luis Robert could play hero and get the game-winning run in, and it's gonna be a strikeout. So now only 1 batter left. Delano DeShields Jr., who came in as a pinch runner, has to come in and play hero himself, batting 133, and he can't come through, and San Jose pulls the upset on the Houston Astronauts. We have a little bit of a pitcher's duel here. Don't get those very often, as we should. We love some scoring here, but Sonny Gray ends up getting player of the game. So the San Jose Marauders do end up winning, even though they are a little bit down bad as of right now. But that being said, they didn't even have the slowest start so far this season. We're going to go ahead and watch 2 teams that have worse records in their respective divisions. The Nashville Blues, coming in, 8-13, and the Detroit Leopards, while they have a really bright future, they have quite a few top 50 prospects that I'm going to highlight later in this episode. But right now the future is not here just yet, and in the meantime, this team that Detroit is putting out on the field at the USBL level, it's not so great, to say the least, as we get a nice little fly ball out to left field. That's gonna be a double at the very least. Is that gonna be a triple? Maybe not a triple. Getting a little bit too excited right there. But that being said, Kyle Schwarber does end up getting a triple, or not triple, but a double, as that's going to be the first time someone actually gets into scoring position the entire game thus far. And the Leopards going to actually take advantage of it here. Kyle Schwarber going to be able to go ahead and get himself home. And Kyle Schwarber going to go ahead and give the Leopards a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Could be extended out even farther depending on how this at-bats goes. But strikes out looking. Wanted to go window shopping here instead. But Tommy Wistella actually goes ahead and gets the first run of the day for the Leopards. As now we switch over to the top of the 5th inning. Marcus Stroman still in the game so far for the Detroit Leopards, but could be in some serious trouble here as that ball is taken out to right center field, and does end up being a stand-up double. So Nashville Blues will also go ahead and get somebody into scoring position as well, as Daryl Cooley, he's up to bat as well. He's going to get it out to left center field, and he's going to go ahead. He's going to bring a run in. So didn't take too long, but the Nashville Blues are going to go ahead, and they will have a game all tied up at 1 apiece. The battle of the bottom dwellers, trying to show as much love to these 30 teams as possible, which granted, but these teams are not very good, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get much love throughout the USBL season when it comes to, getting some matchups here in the episodes. Maybe it'll get some box score love, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. And it's still early as well. Maybe one of these teams will go ahead and turn it around. It's still a 162 game season, of course. So as we go ahead now, top of the 5th inning, Jakeem Dials, he's going to go ahead and get the ball out. Almost, it does end up beating it out with, first and second. So an error could be leading to another run here, potentially. We'll see what Eric Gonzalez has to say about that. Batting 1 for 2 so far in the day. Had a single in the previous inning. As Gonzalez, he's going to send that out to left field. It's a blooper, and that's going to bring in at least 1 runner home. It could be 2. Gonna try to challenge the throw, and even with 99 speed, gets him gunned down. And only one run will score, but the Nashville Blues, even with that, will be up 2-1. But we'll see if Nashville has what it takes to hold on to this lead as Tommy Canal comes into the game. Granted, has not allowed a single run yet in this ball game. He's going to come in here in the bottom of the 9th inning, trying to close things out as Ibarra ends up striking out, which does end up bringing up Nick Senzel, who is a younger player, has some potential going forward, but not completely there yet. He's going to end up striking out, slinging as well, which leaves Marte at the plate, batting 0 for 3 so far in the day. And what a way to close the game, striking out the side to end this game. And the Nashville Blues might be a little bit closer to getting back on track. They win this game by a final score of 2-1 as Tommy Canal gets player of the game. So the thing about the Detroit Leopards and the Nashville Blues is that neither of them actually have the worst record in the league. That actually belongs to the Denver Bald Eagles, who go into this matchup against the Phoenix Firebirds only 5-19, even with the fantasy draft. Still, I guess it seems like some teams that have talent and teams that maybe either aren't meshing together very well, or just went with a more win later approach, trying to go for the future a little bit more than going with the winning now approach. And not rocket scientists, don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out why Denver has really struggled thus far. They haven't been able to hit. They're only batting .228, and then their ERA 5.69 as a team. Those are both bottom 5 in terms of teams in the USBL so far. And even right now, Phoenix already has a 1-0 lead, and we're not even done with the first inning just yet, as we do end up having a double play. That's a nice little play on defense, but Juan Soto does end up getting a run for the Phoenix Firebirds, as Jeff Samardzija is officially on the mound here for Phoenix. But looks like this ball is taken out to right field, and that's going to be deep, 386 feet. Marco Olañez getting that one, get that across the fence and tie this ball game up for the Bald Eagles, as it looks like there might be 2 home runs. One of the nicer stadiums in the USBL. I love how this stadium is set up. Got the Rocky Mountains in the background. It just fits this Phoenix squad so well. Just having those canyons, even not the Grand Canyon necessarily, but just a great looking stadium overall. You absolutely love to see it. And you'll also would love to see Jeff Samardzija getting a strikeout here, as well as the Denver Bald Eagles trying to give them a game now. They're up 2-1. But Kyle Farmer might have something to say about that, though, and he's going to take this one deep to center field. It might carry out of here, though, and it's going to be just over the head of the center fielder. This could be some trouble. Kyle Farmer rounding third. He's trying to go home, and inside the park home run. Oh my goodness. You can't believe what I just saw right there. Oh my goodness. One thing being able to hit a home run, but an inside the park home run here as well. You have to be kidding me, man. You can't be serious right now. And Phoenix, they're going to continue to pour on, even with getting somebody out of the bullpen to try to stop the bleeding a little bit. Chris Stratton can't get the job done necessarily. So after that solo inside the park home run, that's going to go ahead and make it 4-2. And it might be 5-2 after that single out to left field, depending on how this throw is. The throw was actually pretty close, but it's going to be safe. Phoenix goes ahead and adds another run on the board here once again. And look who's back at the plate once he got his oxygen, going after running those bases as hard as he was, as he actually ends up drawing a walk here on Chris Stratton. And that's going to walk a run in. One of the worst things to see, maybe as a pitcher, besides giving up a grand slam, maybe. Austin Nolan at the plate, though. He's going to hit a ball out pretty hard, but right to the shortstop, though. Phoenix eventually done with their inning, but 5 runs in an inning. You absolutely love to see it. they're now going to be up 6-2 here, and they have the opportunity to maybe extend this lead even further as another reliever comes in who has struggled a little bit so far in the year. Maybe George Soler can take advantage of it. As a full count here, he takes one deep to center field on the full count, and it is gone. Another home run for George Soler. That's the 7th home run of the season, and it's also the 7th run of this game for the Phoenix Firebirds. And it could be another home run here. It almost was. That almost was out of there. A few more feet, and he certainly would have it. But instead, I'm sure Gio Ursula is not going to necessarily complain about a double. You know, that's still really good to see. As next batter, Juan Nicasio strikes out. That was Kyle Farmer. As that will bring up Austin Nola to the plate. He's 0 for 2 so far on the day. But a nice base hit out to right field. That's going to bring Ursula home, as center fielder hasn't even thrown it yet, hardly. As that's going to be an easy run for Phoenix to bring in. And it's another one. 8-2. They continue to pour it on. The worst team in the USBL, at least record-wise. I don't know if they have the worst ratings necessarily. I think that still belongs to Memphis. But, you know, Memphis is at least competitive. This Denver team, not so much, man. And if they play like this over the course of the entire season, it could be a really long year, and they could be going straight for the #1 pick in the USBL draft next season. Because, of course, you know, couldn't change the fact that the draft is in the middle of this season, which, by the way, you know, it's not too far away. You know, after, you know, the month of May, you know, going to be looking at the you know, the USBL draft episode. So like after this episode, there's going to be a couple more episodes after that of gameplay. Then we're going to go right to the draft and see, you know, some future stars being drafted on the various teams. Sure, Denver could use one of them, but with how this year it's going to be randomized, they might not even get a blue chip guy in this draft. You know, it depends on how the chips fall ultimately. Denver just not in a great situation right now. You know, whatever they did in that fantasy draft, it did not work out for them whatsoever. Like, literally, nothing has worked out for Denver. That's the only way to explain it when you're 5-19, you know, even with that many games being played. But, again, you know, it's still early in the season. Anything could happen, and dare I say it, Denver is even trying to go ahead and fight back here as they get a 1 run on the board. But, I mean, you need to get 7 more. So, and there's only there's 2 outs already. Luis Garcia, we'll see if he can do something, and ends up getting a blooper out. So hang on here, we might have ourselves a little bit of a game. It's only a 5-run difference. Still, Phoenix probably has like a 99% chance of winning the game. Trying not to freak out just yet if you're a Phoenix guy, as now Phoenix will actually make a change here. Adam Morgan's going to come into the game with an 8.38 ERA, but at the same time, you're asking him just to get 1 out. I mean, how hard is it to get 1 out? Apparently, kind of hard, actually. Marco Lainez, he's going to get a hit. And that throw, if it was online, that would have got him by a mile. But the throw was off target, unfortunately. So another run gets in. Marco Lainez gets an RBI. And so Austin Meadows comes into the game now. 0 for 4 so far on the day. Still down by 4 runs here as Meadows, he's going to hit the grounder up to the second baseman. And Phoenix, you know, got to give credit where credit is due. Denver really tried its hardest to go ahead and make a rally. But, I mean, that deficit was just way too big to overcome. And Phoenix is going to go ahead and win this game by a final score of 10-6 in this ball game. Alright, guys, so without about a month of baseball went by here in the USBL, and a couple of things I want to show you guys now. I want to show you the top prospects currently here in the USBL and going into season #1, and then we'll also go ahead and take a look at the standings, you know, for not only each division, but, you know, the wild card race. You know, how are things shaking up after 1 month of baseball so far? So that being said, you know, this is the list of the top 50 prospects in the USBL, and some of them are already at the USBL club. The biggest example is Corey Lee, who is currently shown as the #1 prospect in the entirety of the USBL, and not doing too bad. He played in 12 games thus far. Bat 278. No home runs yet, but has a few RBIs to his name. So, really like to see that, and especially on a cheap deal too, only worth $80K according to the contract. So, Corey Lee, doing some good work for the Nashville Blues as well. But that being said, he's not the only top 50 prospect that's currently at the USBL level. Another example is closing pitcher Richie Burrs, who is on the Detroit Leopards. Only 20 years old, has played in 8 games thus far, for the Detroit Leopards, but, hasn't really done that great of a job so far. A 5.06 ERA, 6 strikeouts, one walk, and 5.1 innings pitched. He does have 1 save to his name, but has also blown a save though, so he's 1 for 2 on save opportunities so far this season. Another USBL prospect, the youngest one of the youngest players in the USBL right now, is Thad Gonzalez over on the Minnesota Ducks. He's only 18 years old too. Small guy, 5'10", 164 pounds, but that being said, not too shabby. 253 average with 2 home runs, 12 RBIs too, and even has a few stolen bases already on the season. He's the type of guy, more of a little bit of a developmental guy, isn't phenomenal at any one thing, but he can utilize the ability to steal some bases, so that's something to definitely watch out for, especially if he does get that speed up. Over on the Jacksonville Suns, the number 10 prospect, Alex Manoch, who's only 22 years old, actually born in Florida, playing in his home state, so you certainly love to see that. Has started in 5 games so far, 2 wins and 3 losses, on his name. He's a rookie, man. There's nothing really else to say. 4.1 ERA, 21 strikeouts, 8 walks. Not too bad. I'm trying to see. He does have 3 quality starts so far, which I do really like to see, and only has hit 1 batter so far too. So the control is starting to get there slowly but surely, but definitely a good velocity guy, has some good stamina. Over on the Washington Senators, number 13 prospect Bryson Scott. He is a 22-year-old from the state of Nevada, and right now he's having a hot start to his USBL career, batting .369, a home run, and 7 RBIs. One thing that he does a really good job with is getting base hits. He already has 6 extra base hits, not even counting the home run thus far. And on top of that, he's not a bad defender. He's actually a pretty good defender, all things being considered. The 79 speed certainly helps, and he'll only get better. The contact numbers certainly increasing, and he's having a good start to his USBL career because of that. Back over to the Detroit Leopards, the number 18 prospect, Noel Marte, only 18 years old, already with the USBL club. Showing that maybe he should have spent a little bit more time down in the minor leagues a little bit, get a little bit more work in the minor league systems. Only batting .207, struck out 24 times in 87 at-bats. That's not a good look whatsoever. His contact against right-handed pitchers is actually dropping a little bit, but he does have a good arm, and he does have some good speed as well, and he's only 18 years old, so he still has a lot of room to grow. Speaking of players that still have room to grow, Mackenzie Gore, who's a starting pitcher for the Seattle Pilots, the 20-year-old, actually improved his overall a little bit already. He's already up to 69 overall. Nice, you'll love to see that. As for his stats, not too shabby, man. 2 wins, 0 losses, and 28 innings pitched. Has an ERA of 3.8, so not great by any stretch of the imagination, really. But that being said, this is a guy. If he does get a quality start in, he's been winning games. He's not the reason why they're losing. And then as for Bobby Witt Jr., he's actually on the Memphis Bobcats. Only appeared in 5 games so far, and maybe not USBL ready, to say the least, batting not even on the interstate, .062, so only 6%, 16 at-bats, and 1 hit to show for it, but he does have an RBI at the very least. Yeah, you can see why he's struggling a little bit. The power numbers, the batting really isn't there, but he does have good durability. He's up there right now because of the defense. Up next, we have the number 27 prospect in Edgar Alaniz. He's a closing pitcher for the Atlanta Barons right now, and both his potential and his overall have increased. So, that's a really good sign to see. That means he's doing considerably well, pitching in 9 innings so far in 6 appearances in the young USBL season. Has not allowed a single run, has 13 strikeouts, 2 walks. You love to see that. He is turning to a really good player for the Atlanta Barons. Also up at the USBL level, going out west to Las Vegas, where we find the shortstop prospect for the Lounge Wingers in Wander Franco, who actually was called up to the major leagues in real life. He's considered a number 1 prospect, IRL, but not the case here. But that being said, though, batting .311 right now, you can see why, he's getting as much love that he is. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs off of 45 RBI or 45 at bats. Nice little all-around player, has good vision, so he's not going to necessarily strike out that easily. The number 30th prospect of the USBL that is up at the big league club right now is Adley Rotzman. He is a catcher for the Philadelphia Patriots, 70 overall, but some of his stuff is declining just a little bit. The contact versus right-handed pitchers is a little bit concerning, falling from a 55 down to a 52, and you can see why having a little bit of a issue. Only batting .141. 9 hits and 64 at-bats. Maybe not be ready for a full-time role just yet, but does have 1 home run and 4 RBIs. That's why you got to be careful to make sure, they're truly ready before you go ahead and take them up to the USBL level, because this kind of stuff could ruin their potential if he can't, go ahead and turn around later in the season. 2 more USBL prospects that I want to go ahead and talk about is Cole Rodier, who is only 20 years old. He's a center fielder, also a 69 overall, so that's nice. The control is, it's getting there a little bit, or at least the clutch hitting is getting a little bit better. That's despite the fact he's only batting .118 at the USBL level too. Granted, he's only had 17 at bats, so it's a small sample size, but 2 for 17 is not a good look. Granted, he does have a triple, but he's also struck out in almost half of his at bats. That's simply not acceptable if you want to contribute full-time at the USBL level. And the last person that is currently at the USBL level is Michael Bush. He is a second baseman prospect for the Memphis Bobcats. 70 overall guy as well. Not doing too shabby. 250, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. Also have only struck out 5 times, but managed to draw 4 walks, so the on-base percentage looking pretty good at .357. I really like to see that overall for this young fella, especially with this being his rookie year. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the standings after 1 month of play here in the USBL. Starting with the NLS, we actually have a tight race in the NLS to start things off. The LA Saints and the San Diego Whales are actually tied for first place as of right now. But the San Francisco Seals are surging just a little bit. They've won their last 3 games. But the biggest story here is the Denver Bald Eagles. They might have one of the worst records in the league right now, 6-20. Trying to do the competitive balance thing, through the fantasy draft. But Denver, right now showing that they did not do a very good job of that whatsoever, with potentially one of the worst records in the league. Over in the NL Central, though, and it's, still also a tight race, though, coming down between the Louisville Colonials and the Indianapolis Indians. The Colonials with a half-game lead, Louisville up half a game on the Indianapolis Indians. The Aurora Lightning also have a positive record as well, 13 wins and 12 losses, with the Milwaukee Bears, and the Memphis Bobcats not too far behind, 10-16, but it's still a respectable record, and doing so despite having really low expectations. They had the lowest rated USBL squad coming into this season, but at least for right now, they are being competitive. Rounding out the National League, we got the East Division, where the Philadelphia Patriots are leading things right now. They are up with a 17-10 record after 1 month of play. There are a couple of other teams, though, that are above 500. The Washington Senators are currently 14-11, and the New Orleans Kings finished the month of April on a high note. They win 4 games in a row, with the Charlotte Cougars at 11-15, and the Jacksonville Suns Up next now, we go over to the American League, starting with the West Division. And the Houston Astronauts, despite the fantasy draft, they're off to a nice little start here, 16-10. They're leading the division after 1 month, though. The San Antonio Outlaws, though, are certainly struggling. One of the worst records in the league, though, 9-18, so you hate to see that. The Seattle Pilots, Las Vegas Lounge Wizards, both above 500, and the San Jose Marauders doing a decent job of at least being competitive for the time being. Moving forward to one of the best records, I think these guys have the best record in the league right now. The Minnesota Ducks, they are off to a really fast start right now. Not necessarily getting some love from, national TV audience, but they have a really good team that's led by Fernando Tatis Jr. 19-7, that's not accomplished on accident, and they finished this month winning 3 consecutive games. The Chicago Freeze trying to keep up, but they're already 3.5 games back. They're 16-11 and won their last game. The Columbus Jets, though, are starting to fall off just a little bit, though. They finished the month of April on a 3-game losing streak, so they're 10-15, now being tied with the Nashville Blues, who've also kind of struggled for the month of April. And then in last place is the Detroit Leopards. They're 9-18, but this is also a team, they have multiple top 50 prospects. The future is bright in Detroit. Last division that I want to go ahead and talk about is the American League East, and this is one of the best divisions in baseball. There's only one team that doesn't have a 500 record or better, and that's the Baltimore Stone Crabs, who are only 12-14, so that's not even that bad. The Cleveland Rockers, New York Knights, the Atlanta Barons, and then the Boston Quakers, they all have records over 500, which, is really nice. Could turn out to be the most competitive division in the entire USBL. But the Cleveland Rockers still have a nice early lead. They're up 3.5 games on the rest of the division with an AL East best 17-8 after the month of April. So guys, that is actually going to wrap up the late April action here in the USBL. If you're enjoying the content, man, make sure you smash that like button, as well as hit subscribe if you do happen to be brand new as well. Next episode, we will show some games from the first half of the month of May. It's going to be a good one, man, so make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're new. This is JohnJake Gaming on the mic, signing off, but hoping you're all out there having a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.